Hi everyone, I'm Damien Roy and welcome on my YouTube music guitar channel. Today I'm going to teach you a couple tricks to practice your instrument when you think you have no time to practice it. So first thing, you're more used to doing things like this here, scrolling down or tapping here on your phone. So do you know how much time you spend on your phone? Of course, watching shorts, reels, and things like that there. You spend a lot of time. So what if I told you that I can create time for you to work out your instrument practice, okay? So let's start first with the 5-minute practice. So 5-minute practice, you're gonna tell me 5 minutes per day, that's nothing, I'm not learning anything. Well, you could be wrong, at least you're practicing something, okay? So what would be the 5-minute practice right here? First of all, you would have the 1-minute warm-up. So you can work on scales, you can work on exercises like warm-up, chromatic exercises, things like that. The second minute there you would be 1-minute scale practice. So before doing this there, if you decide to do 5 minutes every day, decide a different scale you're going to practice. That'll be much more better. So let's say C major scale. So you're going to work on C major scale just for 1 minute. Just put the timer on and just do 1 minute. The third minute, you're going to do 1 minute of chord practice. Chords that you don't master, for example. You prepare them in advance, day before, thinking, okay, I got to work on those chords. Just for 1 minute, you're going to work it out. On the fourth minute there, you can work, for example, on some strumming pattern practice. If you're playing acoustic guitar or even electric guitar, that could be interesting. There's nothing wrong with that there, it's a good thing. Now, the 5th minute there, you have 1 minute song practice. And I know what you're going to tell me. You're going to think, 1 minute song, that's not enough for practicing. Well, it's better than nothing because you're able to spend like hours working on reels and looking at reels and shorts. So why not practice 1 full minute? Just focus on what you're doing. And of course, please turn off your phone when you're doing that. Now let's move on to the 10-minute practice. So first of all, the 10-minute practice here, we can change like the number of minutes we can use there. And you can change that every week. This is the basic idea, how to find time when you don't have time to practice your instrument. Let's start with the 2-minute warm-up exercise. Chromatic scales, exercises on 1 string. So if you're playing more electric, you can work on your alternate picking, doing the warm-up, or just going up, 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 down, down, down. Secondly, 2-minute scale practice. So this time you can take like 2 full minutes to practice your scale practice. And you can take, for example, working on another scale every day, or deciding to do like 1 minute of C scale, 1 minute of G scale, whatever. After we can do, for example, 1 minute of hammer-on practice. So you're going to work on some exercises just for a full minute. That means full 60 seconds. And 60 seconds could be really, really long. After we can go on 1 minute pull-off practice. Pull-off exercises are not super popular for guitarists, but they are necessary and useful. After we can go on 1 minute bending practice. You may think that you know how to do your bendings correctly, but they're not always perfect, and we always have to practice. Remember, practice them slowly. So doing like a 1 minute bend practice, you can do work on a full bending, half bending, quarter bending, bend and a half, for example. And the last would be like a 3-minute pentatonic jam. So you can put, for example, a backing track on for 3 minutes there, and just work on your pentatonic scale. Just pick a key and work on it there. And that would be a good 10-minute practice. Let's move on now to the 15-minute practice. Okay, so we always start with the warm-up. That's my recommendation. 1 minute warm-up. Okay, so you can do different exercises or the same things you like doing just to warm up your fingers, left hand, right hand. Secondly, we're going on a 2-minute scale practice. Same thing, you can pick another scale like D major, for example. Or you can go on minor scales, it's up to you. You decide how you want to organize your menu of the week. It's just like your food. Try not to eat the same thing every day. That's not good. And it's the same thing for guitar practice. We can move on after to 4-minute triad practice. So you can work on, for example, 2 minutes of major triads and 2 minutes of minor triads. Let's start on the 3 first strings, for example. After, we can go on 3-minute note bending practice. Same thing, take your time, work out your bendings. You may think that you mastered them, but you don't have them. You have to keep on practicing. It's a long, long, long practice in time. 3-minute of note reading practice. Ooh, note reading. That is absolutely not popular to musicians, guitarists. But reading your notes is something important, especially if you want to be a teacher one day, instructor. And if you're working in a more professional band, you got to learn how to read some of the notes. So that's something you can work on your own. Take your time with it. If you don't like it, you can shorten the note reading practice there and do something else. But I think it would be a good thing to work out. 2-minute rhythm practice. Same thing. You can work on some rhythm patterns and, for example, work on one string. And I have a really good book to recommend you. It's one of my books. The note reading, the rhythm exercises, book 1, 2, and 3. Okay? And then we have the 3-minute improvisation jam. So you can go on 3-minute improvisation jam, working on a different key. Let's go, for example, in E minor or G major. But you have to prepare all that before so you can fully take advantage of this 15-minute practice. Now, let's move on to the 20-minute practice. So 20-minute practice here, that could be daily. And of course you can change. For example, on Monday you can do 5-minute, on Tuesday you can maybe do 30-minute. All depends what you're going to do, but be organized. Don't just noodle around doing things that are not going to be useful for your playing and your learning. 20-minute practice. Let's start with the 2-minute warm-up, okay? Let's go on a 2-minute scale practice. A 2-minute legato practice. Okay, that's a little exercise you can work on. 1 string, 2 strings. Just keep it up to 2 minutes there. 2-minute alternate picking. Okay, 2-minute, you're going to tell me, okay, this is maybe not enough to warm up. You can change your 20-minute practice the way you want. But try to do different things. It's a good thing, I think. So 2-minute alternate picking. Working on 1 string, 2 strings, or more, it's up to you. 2-minute sweep practice. That's a really good thing to work on. 3 strings, 4 strings, 5 strings, it's up to you. Start slowly, and after you can work on your acceleration. Of course, I recommend using the metronome for that. And then at the end, I recommend doing 10-minute improvisation jam. So 10 minutes is better than having 5 minutes. It's a 20-minute practice, and you can work on, I recommend just working on one backing track you can use here, and maybe put in exercise all the little techniques that you have here: legato, alternate picking, sweep picking. Let's move on now to the 30-minute practice. So if you have an hour of practicing every day, that's even better. You can create your hour practice. 30-minute practice. I start with the 2-minute warm-up. After we have a 2-minute scale practice, same thing, you decide in advance what you want. 2-minute working on triads. And you can specifically work on triads you do not master, okay? Or you can choose on really working on the ones that you master perfectly. 2-minute rhythm, okay? So you can work on rhythm patterns there, on 1 or 2 strings or more. 2-minute alternate picking, okay? On 1 or 2 strings, you can work on a pattern. 2-minute legato. Then I have, after 2-minute sweep picking. Same thing, you can work on your triads, but using the sweep picking there or not. Or work on some speed picking, for example. That's we're practicing the scales a little bit differently. We have, after 2-minute tapping, 2-minute note reading. So I know note reading is not popular, but it's a good thing to work on it there. So you can, for example, work on note reading on, for example, on the 1st string or the 2 first strings, or just work on the 3 first frets. We have, after a 2-minute riff playing. So you can decide in advance which riffs you need to practice and just practice them there really slowly because the muscle memory works when you work slowly. That's how you play fast. After we have a 2-minute blues licks to practice, so you can decide in advance what blues licks you want to practice there that you need to practice for your playing. You want to kind of practice a little bit more to master a little bit better. 2-minute jazz chords. Ooh, yes. Well, if you're open to music, you got to play a little bit of everything. You can't just be a metalhead. You got to be interested into blues, jazz, country, whatever. I know you have your musical preference, but this is a good thing. And then you have like a 6-minute improvisation jam. Okay, so 6-minute, you're going to think, I would like to have more for practicing. But this is how it goes. If you just have a 30-minute practice, you can decide how to reorganize. So these are just examples of practicing. Because people think that, okay, I'm going to practice for 30 minutes a song. Okay, practice 30 minutes a song. But I think that this is a good idea of doing different things, separate things, because if you do that every day, the muscle memory works better, and you will memorize better, and you'll be trained much more better. And I had this idea coming from a really good instructor, Peter Nathanson, when I was at Music Academy International of Nancy in France. He gave us the idea of working out on the 2-3 minute when you don't have time. And we all thought, wow, that's crazy. But in the end, it was a really good idea. So I really hope that you enjoy this YouTube video lesson and that you learned something here, how to organize your time for practicing. Because we always say, I do not have time to practice. All my students often tell me that I didn't have time to practice, or I can only practice on the weekend. I'd rather that you guys work every day a little bit than not at all. That's a good thing. You can find 5 minutes or 10 minutes for going on your phone. So if you can do that, you can find like 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes to practice your instrument. So please don't forget to subscribe, and see you at for the next video there.